We've heard all week talk of where our economy is headed, in particular concerns around inflation and interest rates and the possibility of recession. In terms of where that's all going to head, let's get some predictions now. Joining me live is Chief Economist with Barrenjoey, Joe Masters. Thanks very much for your time. I guess, first of all, let's just start with the sort of outlines we've had, that inflation is likely to head higher but will come under control by the end of the year, that the measures are already in place to do that. Do you agree with that?
Well, we know that annual inflation is going to head higher from here. That's set in stone now, and there's nothing that monetary policy or fiscal policy really can do about inflation, which is widely expected to peak in the December quarter. The key question, as you alluded to, is have we done enough to be confident that inflation will come down through 2023? And look, I think the answer there is no, we haven't. We have a cash rate that is still in expansionary territory, or in economics language, still below the neutral cash rate. So we need to do more monetary policy tightening, and we need to see the economy and economic activity slow from here.
So we're going to see more rate rises. That seems all but certain. That's the interesting phrase you use there, neutral territory. So that means that the cash rate isn't making people go, wow, this is such a bargain, I'm going to go out and spend. But ultimately also, down the track, it's not making them think, I've got to tighten the budget strings, I can barely afford this. Where's that going to settle? Because we have such a bigger household debt. Yes, we've got the asset of the house, but people have taken out these big loans with a massively ramping up housing portfolio. So where do you think that's going to settle in the next year or two? Where is that neutral territory now?
Yeah, so the truth is we don't know where neutral is. It's not an observable rate. It's the cash rate that is not encouraging economic activity or discouraging economic activity. So you can't see it, but also it moves over time. And as you just said, household debt is one of the factors that moves it. When household debt is higher, the neutral rate is lower. But we only know where it is when we look back in history and go, oh, that's when we saw the economy expand or contract. So I liken it a little bit to trying to catch a fly with a pair of chopsticks. Now, we do have some framing in economics that helps us guess where it is. We continue to hear from the RBA governor. He talks about a 2.5% neutral cash rate. Here at Barrenjoey, we think it's a little bit lower, closer to 2% because of that high household debt. But there's a range of forecasts out there, anywhere between sort of 1.5% cash rate and 3.5% cash rate.
So if people are looking to figure out their budgets, and I guess some people are on these variable loans, they're living, every month they go, right, okay, let's redo the budget. But there are a record number of Australians that locked away fixed rates, and they know when reality is going to come. It might be a year or 2 or 3 years away if they're lucky. And they go, well, we know we're not copping this higher rate now, but we'll have to. So your best guess right now, and giving the caveats you've offered there, 2% cash rate, give or take 4%. An actual home loan rate, maybe a touch higher. Is that your best guess for what the new reality might be?
So our best guess and our forecast at the moment is for the cash rate to peak at 2.6%, and we think that we'll get there in the next few months. Now, I think the risk to that cash rate forecast is probably higher rather than lower. And then, as you said, that will push the variable mortgage rate up into the sort of 4s to 5s. Now, if we're thinking about someone that's rolling off a fixed rate mortgage, and as you said, we've got 40% of mortgages in Australia at the moment have been fixed. We know about 3/4 of those will roll off next year. So those households will have to choose either to reset with another fixed rate mortgage or go to a variable rate mortgage. Fixed rate mortgages have already moved significantly higher because they're priced off bond yields at the long end, and they've already risen. So it is going to be a stark choice. And I really hope that households are doing what you talked about, which is preparing now for the inevitability of higher interest payments next year.